Hi, in this video I'll be talking about how to graph radical functions, that's square root functions, right? And what we really want to do, honestly, is be able to graph square root functions. I don't think you're going to see anything other than that in an Algebra 2 class. So let's just get an idea of what's going on. Remember just a couple of key terms that we've talked about a lot before with parabolas. We have the parent function, and the parent function is like the most basic form of a radical function. So in this case, that would be f of x is equal to the square root of x. That's our parent function, and everything is going to be based off of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to transform those functions, and to transform means we're going to slide, or we're going to flip, or we're going to turn, things like that, right? The things that we've already done, okay? And those are middle school terms. I know that we've called them other things like reflections for flips and translations for slides and rotations for turns. But, you know, let's just get an idea of what's going on here. Very simple. What I want to do to graph this, the basic square root of x, is I'm going to start at 0, 0. And the reason I do that is because the square root of 0 is 0. Okay, so I know if I make a little t-table here that would be an easy way for me to graph. And I would suggest then doing this, picking only values for x that you know the square root of. So for instance, I know the square root of 1, so maybe 1 would be the next x coordinate that I pick. And the square root of 1 is 1, so 1, 1 is my next point on my graph. And then I don't know the square root of 2, so let's don't graph that one. I don't know the square root of 3, but I do know the square root of 4, so maybe I pick that one next, right? And the square root of 4 is 2. And so I go over 4 and up 2. There's my next point. The next square root that I know is 9, and the square root of 9 is 3. And so I'm going to go ahead and graph that next. And so I come over here to 9 and 3, and I see that I'm probably going to be off the graph after this. And the problem is I can't go in and throw a square root of -1 in, okay, because that would give me imaginary numbers. That we're talking I there. Right? And so we don't graph those. So that kind of thing doesn't really happen. And 0, 0, in other words, is going to be the important point of our graph. Okay? So it's going to look like this. And here's what I want to point out. You remember graphing parabolas? And how when we graph parabolas, we said if we can find the vertex, then we know how, the low point of the graph, that what we do is we go over 1, up 1, and over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9. Well, notice that this is the same thing. Ready? If I turn this sideways, it kind of looks like a parabola, doesn't it? And I went over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9. It's a parabola that's been turned sideways, and we knock off the bottom half. Okay? And that's what a square root graph really is. It's like taking this parabola and turning it sideways and then dropping off the bottom half. So 0, 0 then becomes like the important point. And if I can figure out how that's been slid around, moved left, right, up or down, whatever, then that's 99% of the battle, is where is this 0, 0 location, right? So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. That's the parent function. That gives you an idea of what's going on. I'm going to stop here and create a second video where I'm going to walk you through 4 example problems of just slides and turns and stuff like that.